Hey guys, so today I have with me the ND DD3 in-ear monitors. Now ND is a Chinese audio brand, and what makes the DD3 special is that the monitors house tuning switches inbuilt, and these essentially, according to ND, gives you the option to choose between 4 different audio modes or audio signatures, and each of these modes emphasize a particular frequency to give you a certain audio signature. Now, whether these modes are legitimate or just a gimmick, you'll find out as we go down with this review. But first, let's get the unboxing out of the way. So it comes in its usual box, and inside you're greeted with the user manual, a host of silicone ear tips of various sizes, a small pouch to carry these in-ear monitors in, the pin with which you're going to maneuver the tuning switches on the monitors. You get the oxygen-free copper silver-plated cable. Now these have 2-pin connectors on one end, and on the other end you have a 3.5mm audio jack. Now the cable also includes a microphone, and it also has the multifunction control button. And of course you get the ND DD3 in-ear monitors themselves. Now in terms of specs, so these house 10mm dynamic drivers inside, and these have an impedance ranging from 34 ohms all the way up to 45 ohms, depending on which audio mode you set it on using the tuning switches. So yes, you would definitely need a DAC to power these or drive these, because your phone's DAC, inbuilt DAC, will just not have enough power to drive these to their full potential. So I'll link the portable DAC that I personally use in the description below. You can check that out and get that, because you would definitely require it. In terms of build quality, so it's a mixture of aluminum alloy, which makes the faceplate of these in-ear monitors, and then you have PC resin on the other end. Now in terms of looks, that's where it gets kind of cheap. I am absolutely not a fan of the guitar logo and their ND initials on the monitors themselves. I wish it was either just plain or some other color, but this logo just makes it look really cheap, although the earphones themselves don't feel cheap at all. Alright, so now let's get into the main criteria, which is the audio quality. Now I'm going to go over what the different sound modes do. So there are 4 sound modes, and based on where you place the tuning switches, based on their position, you're going to get a different audio signature. So as you can see on screen, the mode 1 is known as powerful low frequencies. Then you have mode 2, which is vibrant high frequencies. You have mode 3, which is natural balance. And lastly, you have mode 4, which is enhanced low frequencies. So they are supposed to boost particular frequencies, giving you different audio signatures. So I put that to the test. Now, as you guys know, I don't just say good sound or bad sound. I judge these in-ear monitors based on how they can produce the 3 main frequencies that broadly make up any sound that you hear: the highs, the mids, and the lows. The highs, or the treble, where the really sharp sounding instruments are, the mids, or the vocals, and the lows, or the bass. So starting off with mode 1, which is enhanced low frequencies, I think, in my opinion, this is the worst sound mode that you can choose. Because in this mode, starting off with the treble, it was muted, there was no texture, there was no richness, there was no clarity, and any instrument that fell into the category or the frequency of the highs were very muted. So absolutely no separation, lacked any sort of richness, and the highs were a disaster. Now coming to the vocals or the mid frequencies, again, the mids sound very, very bad. They were muffled. There was no natural tonality. It sounded hollow. It wasn't at all a very clean rendition of the vocals. It was almost as if the vocals were struggling to be rendered. So the vocals were also very, very poor. And finally, we come to the bass. The bass was muddy, muffled, not clean, and it tried to have or push a layer of artificial depth into the low end, which just made things worse. So overall, I would say that mode 1 on these in-ear monitors is something you should definitely avoid if you want even a glimpse of a natural sound response. Next up, we have mode 2, which is vibrant high frequencies. Now starting off with the treble or the high frequencies, there is a definite improvement compared to mode 1. So the highs or the trebles sound much more natural. There is lesser sharpening. It is cleaner, has a bit more richness, and has a bit more clarity as well. So instruments in the higher frequencies were more audible, were more separated from the other frequencies, and it was better. It was an improvement. Now coming to the vocals or the mid frequencies, the vocals do improve. but again, they lack body and depth and again sound a bit hollow. It is an improvement over mode 1, but by no means perfect. Now in terms of the low end or the bass response, it is okay. You do get a bit of the thump, but in my opinion, even if I'm going to wear the shoes of a purist, I would say that it lacks bass. Next up, we have mode 3, which is natural balance. Now the treble sounds balanced, but it's not too different from mode 2, so I don't think there is too much of a difference there. I personally feel it requires more richness and clarity to really bring out those subtle nuances that are there in the higher frequencies, so that there is more spacing between the instruments. So basically, all the modes till now lack soundstage. They just sound very narrow. There is lack of separation between these three. Now coming to the mid frequencies or the vocals. Now again, it's the underlying theme, which is there is this artificial layer that they are trying to paste on the vocals, which just makes it sound very cheap. The vocals, the mid frequencies were very underwhelming. And coming to the low end or the bass, again, the bass is not as deep and as clean as I would want them to be, and often I found that it eats up into the vocals or the mid frequencies, thereby again really ruining the separation, ruining the nuances which should be there. Very disappointing, to be honest. And finally, we come to the last mode, which is mode 4, which is enhanced low frequencies. Now in mode 4, the treble or the high frequencies do sound a bit more controlled, but by no means perfect. Now the subtle nuances that I was talking about, they are a bit better rendered in this mode and have a bit more separation from the mid frequencies, so that is definitely an improvement, and that just helps it sound more natural and definitely better than the other three modes. Now coming to the mid frequencies of the vocals, there is a marginal improvement here, and the improvement comes from the fact that they have reduced that artificial sharpening in the vocals, so that kind of helps it sound a bit more natural. Compared to the other modes 1, 2 and 3, mode 4 at least gives you that hint of natural tonality that I was craving for, but it's just barely there. But comparing the other modes, there is an improvement. Now the bass does sound a tad bit more deep, sometimes gives you a hint of the sub-lows, but again, it is by no means even near perfect. So it's not clean, but again, I think mode 4, in my opinion at least, is definitely the best mode when you compare modes 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so here's the bottom line. The ND DD3 retails for $20 or 1700 rupees. So they are cheap. Now what ND has tried to do is they've tried to jam pack a lot of technology, which on paper at least is pretty exciting. You've got tuning switches with which you get 4 audio styles with just one pair of in-ear monitors. But I think they would have done a better job if instead of giving you the tuning switches, they would have invested in proper drivers which are well tuned and give you a robust and legitimate good audio quality. But in general, honestly, and it sounds very harsh, but I would not suggest the ND DD3 to anyone who's even getting into in-ear monitors, because they don't sound good. Even though they are $20, they are still $20, and there are a host of other options out there that do a far better job. So this is not me hating on you, ND. I'm sure you have other in-ear monitors that do a far better job, and you can even improve upon this, even if you need to raise the price a tad bit. But it should be something that I can legitimately suggest to my viewers and say that they sound really good. And I have full confidence that you can do that. The ND DD3 just doesn't cut it. So there you have it, guys. That was my brutally honest, rather harsh review of the ND DD3 in-ear monitors. If you have any questions about this, do let me know in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer them. So thank you so much for stopping by. If you did enjoy the video and found this helpful, please remember to smash the like button and subscribe. And I'll leave a link of this product and the DAC in the description below. Make sure you check it out from there. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. Cheers.